All right, so this is the second part. So if you didn't watch the first video, please make sure you're scrolling to the top of the document and it walks you through how to make the land, the three mountains and the sky that you see. Again, I just want to reiterate how important it is to have your layers labeled correctly and in the correct order. Again, if I move this mountain above, that does not look good, okay? So I'm making sure that my mountains, right, are overlapping in a nice way. To recap, with the mountain, in order to change the shape, I went to Edit and Free Distort to change that shape. We don't really have a lot of other options. If you want more like a rolling hill, then you can't do that gradient drop, Control T, scale to size, and then this triangle shape to distort. What you would have to do is, let me turn off these eyeballs, make a new layer. So I have to scroll down because I have so many layers now, and do plus, and here's my layer, rename it rolling hill. And the way how I would do this rolling hill is I would get my hard edge brush, so making sure that the softness is to hard edge, and then scaling it to the size that I want. You can't use your keyboard shortcuts, it just doesn't work. So you have to kind of scale it, and let me close that out. And I can create, so that's making bumpies. So that means, let's see, is it the step? If I make it less, that looks less than, right? So I'm going in here to my step. Let's make it a lot to see what happens. Yeah, okay. So the step is the spacing. So the lower the spacing, the less bumpy it looks, the higher the number, the more spaced out it is. Okay, so that's not helpful, is it? So I'm going to select all and delete that, and then select, deselect, Control D, and then using my brush, that's kind of the best I get in Pixlr, which is fine for a rolling hill. Okay, and that is above my land layer, which isn't good. So that would be a rolling hill. It's too tall for the first one, so I would go in and just kind of squish it, right? I can squish, I can stretch, whatever you want. And there's your hill. And then you would continue, I'm not going to go through the steps again, but that's, you would continue to duplicate this guy, and you can flip them and all of that to get what you want. Okay, I don't want this, so I'm going to delete him and turn the visibility back on by doing checks in these squares. Okay, so I have this. Now what I need to create is my sun, and press the plus sign. I want it to be empty. My sun is all the way up on the top. I am going to rename it sun, and I'm going to come here and change it to a color that I want. So I might actually, I'm using my color picker to do, I might just do like a lighter pink to see what happens there. X out of that. And there really isn't going to be a sun for this image, but I'll do it just so you guys can see. I'll do a soft yellow. Okay. Here's my brush. Like you guys have started to see, it's not as great as Photoshop. Size, that's your bracket. You change it bigger, smaller here. Softness, right? So this is a hard edge because it's at 0. And then the higher the number, the more soft it becomes. Because I'm doing a sun, I'm going to have it around here. Spikes, this is, can you see? You can't really see. Maybe it needs to be. Let's see. Is it because of the, oh, okay, because I have to change this to show this stuff. Okay, so in order for you guys to see, here's the aspect, and then I can change, and it creates, these are all the brushes we've got. If you guys find other brushes, let me know. I'm gonna Google when I'm done with this and see if Pixlr has brushes that we can load so that it's a little bit more interesting than what we've got. All right, so I'm gonna put the aspect down, and just have it be this nice sphere for the sun. Okay, and that's still too small, so I'm going to scale it larger, and I like that. And I'm going to click, and there's my nice soft sun. Again, it's on the top, which is a problem. I want it to go just above my sun, and there I have it. Again, please use these tools and information in here. This talks to you about turning on and off a layer. This talks to you about how to move stuff. If you make a mistake, undo it. When we get to save in a minute, I'll talk about that. And all the way up here, these are your layers. This is what it should be. This is the order, all right? So make sure that you guys are trying using the resources available that I have. Okay, so here I have my sun, and then the next layer that I want to do is clouds. And I just thought it was important to show you guys, ooh, it's hard to get that spot. Okay, and I'm going to rename this sky. If you have a mouse, I would use a mouse. If you have a trackpad, that's going to be a little bit harder. It's not impossible, but it is going to be harder. If you are using a trackpad, rolling hills might be more difficult versus dumping and changing. But if you have a mouse, use it. You just plug the USB in into anything. It can be plugged into a Chromebook, anything. A mouse is going to be easier to draw. Ask your parent, ask somebody at home, say, I don't see a mouse out. Do we have one? They might have one tucked away in a drawer that they aren't using. So ask if you don't have a mouse and see if there's one laying around. It'll just really help. Okay, so here I have, what did I name this? Sky? Oh, my brain's broken, guys. Okay, clouds. And I want them to be light pink clouds, because why not? And I'm just gonna paint to see that's bright enough. Okay, so I'm gonna go back in my history and undo. And here's my brush. As you can see, it's way too big. So I'm gonna soften it. And then this is where you can go in if you want to and change the angle. So I'm gonna keep it, what is these, spikes? I want no spikes. But maybe by creating a little bit more of a brush like that might make it a little bit more of a cloud shape. So that's interesting. I feel like it needs to be a little bit larger though, and more softness. Okay, and maybe I don't like the angle of this, so I can change the angle if I want. I'm going to zoom out so I can see what I'm doing. I am not expecting absolute beautiful pieces of art. What I'm expecting is a kid that's trying. If you're trying, thank you. Don't get frustrated. Just see what you can make, all right? These clouds are not working because they're going over the mountains, which looks weird, so that's not a big deal. I just drag it down and have it behind, okay? So this is one of the examples. I made grass as well in this one, so let me zoom in a little bit. So these are with a slightly different brush, okay? And then these are, oh, I wanted to show you guys this brush. Okay, so let me go to my grass layer. And when I click on pen, there's all these different options that you can do. And so I decided to do, let me really zoom in so you can see what's happening. All right, so pen. Do you see how it's creating like these really kind of neat, sketchy lines? All right. And what I did to create the grass is I ended up doing light and dark areas. So let me show you. Can you see that? Not really. But there's the light, middle tone, and dark. Okay. Highlights, shadows, all that. So when you're creating, I could do a dark kind of shrubby grass, and then I could do a lighter, and then maybe a darker on top. And it's just neat. That's all. I just want you guys to experiment, okay? So now it's time to save. So I've checked my layers. I've done everything. It looks great. I created my land layer, my sky layer, my mountain layer. I distorted what I can. I zoomed in and out. I turned on and off my visibility. I used my move tool so I can move clouds and suns around. If I made a mistake in my history, I undid it. And this is how you save. This link, if you click on this and go here, it helps you with how to save files to your computer. And it says File Save, navigate to your desktop, and you want to save it twice. So just like with Photoshop, this guy gives you the layered document, which is super cool. So you can actually edit and work on it again later, which is really, really nice. And then the JPEG is completely flattened and there's absolutely no layers. That's the one I want you to turn into Google Classroom because the chances of it causing an error, glitching out, becoming corrupt, something that I can't open, that could happen with a Pixlr file. It will not happen with a JPEG. So if you turn in a Pixlr, I will try my hardest to look at it, but it could cause some issues. So just to make my life easier, if you could just turn in JPEGs, that would be really great. And then if you want to add more than what I demonstrated, of course you can. So you can experiment with different tools and brushes. You can add more details like individual clouds, maybe crops like a cornfield, farm animals, regular animals, whatever you want. And then this is just kind of a little note, and it says, I understand that you guys are working at home versus in the classroom, and you're going to produce totally different work, which I believe I've said throughout this video. I am not able to stand next to you and help you, right? Those tiny little problems that you get hung up on, I can come over, I can help you in 2 seconds and you can get right back on track. Well, now that you're working at home, it might be a little bit more frustrating, and that is okay. I am not trying to have you guys turn in work that is absolutely stunning and beautiful. That is not the point of this. If we get work that's really great, awesome. If we get work where you guys are like, I learned what I'm supposed to do, I'm struggling a little bit, but I'm going to keep at it, that's really all I want. So it says, instead, I'm hoping to see that you've tried and that you've understood the basics of what I am asking. All I want from you guys is a landscape file that holds more than one layer. Photoshop is the best. That is why designers use it. That is why designers pay for it. Pixlr E, meaning editor, is a great substitute because it's free. It's a free web app that you guys can use at home. It does cause glitches. When I was working on my file, I was zooming in and out and it was doing these like weird little checkerboard squares that I couldn't get rid of. And I found by making sure that my background was white, it eliminated that problem. So just allow yourself some time to learn, grow, and be patient. That is huge, okay? I will be in touch, but if you need any help in the meantime, always you can send me an email. That's my email there. Or you can send me a private comment. Both of them work for me. And if I do reply back to you, if you could just reply back, okay, or got it, that would be really helpful so I know that, hey, the information that Mrs. Farrell sent back to you, the student, you read it versus me believing I sent you stuff and you not knowing I got it because you didn't read it, okay? So just reply, just a quick, okay, I got it, and that lets me feel better knowing that, okay, I did help you guys and you're back on track, okay? All right, so the saving piece. So File, Save, Desktop. So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna go up to File and I'm gonna go to Save. And then it's named Farrell Landscape. If yours is not, make sure that you are switching it. And the first thing you want to do is a PXD, and then you press download. And then mine is just defaulting to my downloads folder, which is totally fine, okay? I am going to switch it to a desktop folder, but I'm not doing that today. This is the first project, all right? So I press close, and I'm going to save it one more time. File, Save. And I want my JPEG, and I want to make sure it's at 100%. And again, it's named correctly. The extension is a JPEG, which is great. And I'm going to press download. And now I have my 2 images. And then you just simply turn them into where it says Pixlr Projects and it says Turn in Work. That is where you turn it in. Again, guys, just try your hardest, stay positive. I know this isn't ideal. Oh, see, look at that. Do you see how it errored out? It's got all those weird glitches. That happens to your work. Don't worry about it. Just turn it in. I can see it, and I will be happy to get it. All right? All right, I'll talk to you guys soon.